And Meretz Hashem, in the classes of this week, we will go into the halachas, the laws and customs applicable to the prayers, the davening of Rosh Hashanah. The general laws of the type of prayer, what changes occur in the prayers, HaMelech HaKadosh, Hakel HaKadosh, Amalis, HaShalim instead of Shalim, and all the details that are applicable to Aseret Tshuva. In today's class, we're going to deal more on the idea and effect and purpose of prayer that relates specifically to the time of Rosh Hashanah and Aseret Tshuva. In other words, is the type of davening that we have during Aseret Tshuva different than any other time? So it says in Sifrei Chassidus, Maimorim of the Rebbe Rayatz, that although Rosh Hashanah is a day of joy, nevertheless one must come towards the davening in a way that he is approaching Hashem with profound bitterness and torn garments over his past deeds, and thus his form of davening is one of begging and supplicating to Hashem to have mercy and accept him as a servant. As we know that in Rosh Hashanah, Hashem's kingship over the world is being judged, and a person must beg Hashem for forgiveness and supplicate to him that he be accepted once again as Hashem's servant. The Rebbe Rashab stated in Sefer Asichis, brought in Sefer Asichis, Tavshin Dal the Rebbe Rayat, the Rebbe Rashab stated that in Rosh Hashanah, one is to pray with great fervor, accompanied by many tears, and that the supplications to Hashem should be that he should be successful in amending his character and acting in the Hasidic method. As we know, one of the greatest fundaments of Teres HaChassidus is L'shanis Tivius Mideisim. So a person change and work on his natural characteristics, his natural character traits, and that a person should daven and have tears on this special day of Rosh Hashanah, that Hashem should help him to change himself. Regarding davening for physical matters, interestingly, the Zohar states that those that pray on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur merely for physical matters are like a dog that screams, have, give me food. This is a very puzzling statement of the Zohar, because when one thinks that, of course, of all days, Rosh Hashanah is the day of the year to beg Hashem and ask and plead to receive a good writing and a good sealing in Bonei Chaim Hazei, in all matters that relate to physicality, in health, in parnasa, in nachas, in peace, in everything that one needs. How can the Zohar state that one who just screams this is like a dog asking have, a very, very fierce statement? The explanation is that in Rosh Hashanah, although it's true that we are being judged for all these matters, and our prayers in Rosh Hashanah will affect the outcome of these matters, nevertheless, there's a much more important judgment happening here, and that's the judgment of the soul. And a Jew should care about his soul, which is eternal, even more than his body, which is merely temporary in this world. So on the day of Rosh Hashanah, a person's main focus is to be on spiritual matters, is to be on begging Hashem, that Hashem reveal his relationship with him, that Hashem instill in his heart love of him and fear of him. And as well, he should also ask for Gashmis. But not that should be his entire focus of Rosh Hashanah prayers, is to simply beg for Gashmis. As one who just focuses on the Gashmis and ignores the relationship with Hashem and doesn't daven for betterment of the relationship with Hashem is simply like a dog asking his boss to please give me food. Regarding crying on Rosh Hashanah, so in many shuls we witness that people tear and people cry during the prayers. It's actually stated in Kisvei Arizal, and it's brought down in Sifrei Halacha, in the Behetiv, in the Mat Ephraim, the Kaf HaChaim, and other places. And Al Rebbe brings this also in the Likutei Torah and numerous places of this week's Parsha Pasuk Kiseitze, that one who does not cry on Rosh Hashanah, this is a sign that his soul is incomplete, God forbid. And so, it was and it is a custom to cry during the davening of Rosh Hashanah. And this was the custom of the Chabad Rebbeim, as brought in various different sources of the descriptions of the prayers of the Chabad Rebbeim, that they would cry profusely during the davening. And so was the custom of the city of Lubavitch, of the citizens of Lubavitch, as described by the Rebbe Rayat in Sefer HaSichos Tavshin Dalet. The question is, however, why is this such a severe statement that one who does not cry throughout a Sefer Simei Tshuva is a sign that his soul is incomplete? So the question is, what is this cry about? So in certain sources of the Alter Rebbe, from the Kutei Torah, as well as other sources from the Alter Rebbe, it's understood that this isn't a cry of sadness, and it's not a cry of melancholy and depression, or even a cry of bitterness of past deeds, or a cry of tshuva, but rather it is a cry of simcha, a cry of joy and passion of one's closeness to Hashem. One who does not feel this feeling during Rosh Hashanah, during a Sefer Simei Tshuva, when the king is now together with us in the chamber, it is a sign that his soul is insensitive. And that's what it means, that his soul is incomplete, that his soul has lost its sensitivity. This is also the explanation of what is brought in certain sources, such as the Gra and Meiser Rav, that he wouldn't cry in Rosh Hashanah. That's what it states in Meiser Rav, that he wouldn't cry, that the Gra would not cry in Rosh Hashanah. There are those that ask, how can the Gra go against an explicit Arizal? So it's brought in the name of his Talmud Muvak, Reb Chaim Volozhin, that what the Gra meant is not that one shouldn't cry at all in Rosh Hashanah, but rather that he should not cry out of sadness and melancholy, but rather that the cry should be out of simcha and joy. The Rebbe, however, in a Sikh in Likutei Sichos, explains that it's impossible to say that a person that has sins, that his cry should be only and simply out of the companionship and dveikus and attachment that he feels with Hashem. Certainly, this type of person that has sins must also cry for his past deeds, and must cry out of tshuva. And therefore the Rebbe explains that in truth, this cry is a double cry. On the one hand, it's certainly a cry of bitterness of sin and a cry of tshuva for past deeds. At the same time, it is also a cry of the dveikus and attachment to Hashem. It's brought down in Svarim, Shar Kavanis of the Arizal, and it's brought down in Sifrei Halacha, the Beheitiv, the Mat Ephraim, the Kaf HaChaim. The one who suddenly is overcome with tears on Rosh Hashanah, it is a sign that at this moment his soul is being judged upstairs before Hashem. And therefore his neshama is reacting in this way. The effect of tears. It's brought in the Aleph HaMagin, the one who cries out of tshuva in Rosh Hashanah has the ability to hear the evil decrees and for him to be written in the book of Tzadikim. It's a very great school for his prayers to be accepted above. It's also brought in Svarim, Veishis Chachma, and other Svarim, that it's proper for a person to wipe his tears over his face, as the sins of a person are written on his forehead, and when a person wipes the tears of tshuva over his forehead, it actually cleanses those sins. Regarding the question that is asked, that we all know that on Shabbos it's forbidden to daven for physical matters. On Rosh Hashanah, how is it permitted, as we stated, to daven for physical matters? Even according to the Zohar that says a person shouldn't ask for physical matters, that just means it shouldn't be his main focus. But it's mutter. How is it mutter? So this is brought in different places to discuss this question. And the reason why is because this is a day of judgment. And if a person doesn't ask Hashem today, then he will never have a chance again. And it's not like Shabbos, when a person can simply ask for his prayers the next day. And it's actually similar to a type of prayer which is being prayed on Shabbos for someone who is deathly ill, chas v'shalom, and his prayers cannot wait for another day. So the same idea applies regarding Rosh Hashanah, and therefore it's mutter to ask for physical things. In conclusion, in summary, a Yid's prayer on Rosh Hashanah is to be approaching Hashem with profound bitterness of his past deeds, with a broken heart, with begging Hashem and supplicating towards him that he be accepted once again as his servant. And this should bring a person even to tears. It should touch his heart. And at the same time, he should also cry over his closeness and his feeling in his relationship with Hashem, and that Hashem shows him. A person is to daven for physical things in Rosh Hashanah, but his main focus is to be on repairing and strengthening his relationship with his Creator.